Assalamu alaikum. Today we will discuss about the PLAB-1 preparation. Before that, let's have a brief review about the PLAB-1. It is basically a midway exam between the OET and the PLAB-2 to get a license to work as a doctor in the United Kingdom by the GMC. It is basically a MCQ based exam which contains 180 MCQs that you need to solve within the 3 hours, that is 180 minutes. And each MCQ contains 1 mark, and the passing criteria depends upon all the candidates' marks. Usually it is around about 120 out of 180, and the requirement for this exam is to have the valid OET, that is you need to give the PLAB-1 within the 2 years of passing the OET, and also you need to pass your graduation of the MBBS, and you need to have a GMC account before giving this PLAB-1 exam. And the fees of this PLAB-1 exam is around about 247 pounds, that is almost 66,000 Pakistani rupees. And this was a brief review about the PLAB-1. So let's discuss about how you can prepare about the PLAB-1. Basically, you need two things to prepare for the PLAB-1 exam, that is PLAB-able and the PLAB keys, because this is an exam which assess your basic knowledge about the medicine, not anything deeper than that. It assess your basic knowledge of the graduation, including the medicine, surgery, psychiatry, gynecology, peds, ortho, each and everything about topic of each and everything. It assess your only superficial and basic knowledge. You don't need to read a lot of books to prepare for the exam. You don't need to read the Oxford. You don't need to read the Davidson, etc. You just need to focus on two things which I am going to tell you about: the PLAB-able and the PLAB keys, because everything about the PLAB-1 exam is given in these two things, and also the past MCQ is also given in these things with explanation and everything. You can download the PLAB-able application from the Play Store and get an idea about what kind of application it is and what kind of MCQs come in the exam. Along with that, you can prepare your PLAB-1 exam from the PLAB keys. So if I talk about my experience of giving the PLAB-1, and I prepared in the 45 days the PLAB-1 exam, but ideally you should give at least 3 to 4 months for the preparation of PLAB-1, because it was very risky for me to prepare for the PLAB-1 in 45 days, because I only get a chance to get the PLAB-1 seat just 45 days before the exam. Then I started preparing for the PLAB-1 exam. But the good thing in my case was that I just recently cleared the FCPS Part 1 exam and the MS Part 1 exam, and that helped me a lot to clear and prepare for the PLAB-1, because they already cleared my basic concept about the medicine. So if you want to prepare for the PLAB-1, you should have at least 3 to 4 months daily study of 6 to 8 hours, because the basic source for PLAB-1 exam should be the PLAB-able app that contains almost 30 to 35 chapters, and each chapter contains different number of MCQs depending upon the chapter. Like some contains only 40 to 50 MCQs, some contain 100 MCQs, and some contain the 200 MCQs. So it is a long and short combination of chapters, and you should prepare yourself accordingly within the 3 to 4 months. And if I talk about how I started preparing, I just started preparing from the PLAB-able application, and daily I studied almost 3 to 4 chapters. Along with, after reading that chapters, I studied the same topic from the PLAB keys, that is in the form of notes. And after doing these two things, I prepared my own notes, because I had very short time, that was a 45 days. So I was very vigilant about the study of the preparation of the PLAB-1, and I was studying almost 10 to 12 hours daily for preparation of PLAB-1. So my routine, as I told you, was to study the topic from the PLAB-able, then move to the PLAB keys, and then prepare my own notes, because I know it was very difficult for me to at the end to revise the PLAB-able. It was a very long application, and the chapters and the MCQs. So after doing one revision like this in this sequence, I was ended with some flagged questions, because you have an option in the PLAB-able application to flag the question, to highlight the question, which you can read in the separate segment of the PLAB-able if you want to revise the topic. And I also have some notes. So at the second time when I started revising the PLAB-able, because I had very short time, I had left only with the almost 20 days. I completed my first vision in the 25 days doing the PLAB-able application, PLAB keys, and preparing my own notes. After that, in the last 20 days, I just read the flat questions, which was almost 800 questions out of almost 3000 questions of the PLAB. And along with that, I prepared my own notes and the prepare for the PLAB from these two sources. At the end, I was left with almost 6 to 7 days, and I just focused on my own notes and just started giving the mocks. I hardly completed almost 7 to 8 mocks given in the PLAB, and that Alhamdulillah helped me a lot to prepare for my PLAB-1 exam. And just after this preparation, I was able to pass my PLAB-1 exam with the good marks. So this was the strategy which I adopted to prepare for the PLAB-1 exam. How I categorize the chapters, I will also share the notes with you, that I wrote all the chapters on a single to 1 to 2 pages, and then compared the number of MCQ along with the other chapters. Then I shortlisted the chapters in the 7 days. That helped me to revise the chapter in a very good way. So you can also make a list of number of MCQs in the each chapter, then you combine that number of MCQs in your easiness, whatever suits you, and you can revise that things like this in the 7 to 8 days. That will help you a lot to revise the thing in a very short time. The last most important thing about the PLAB-1 is the time management. Whether it is OET, it is PLAB-1, it is PLAB-2, you need to manage your time in a very strict way, because these all three exams are very strict regarding the time. So when you are preparing for your PLAB-1 from the PLAB, you need to give the mocks from the PLAB. You should be strict about the time management. You should have restricted your time as compared to the exam, so you can solve the big MCQs in the exam day very easily. As I told you earlier, you just need the basic knowledge for the PLAB-1. You don't need to read a lot of books. You don't need to read a lot of notes, whether it is Swami notes, it is Samson notes, it is Dr. Khalid notes. Just two things, as I told you, the PLAB and the PLAB key. And you can also prepare just by reading the PLAB. It's just additional benefit, because some students just have habit of reading the notes and writing the notes, so it is easy for them to read the PLAB keys, which are in the form of PLAB notes. And you can also download that notes from the website, and also get that notes from many shops in the Lahore if you are from the Pakistan, from the Alama Iqbal and from the Narkali. So you just need to focus. I am again and again saying that you don't need to waste your time on the multiple resources. Just focus on two things: PLAB and PLAB keys with the good concepts and good explanation. You will pass with the flying colors. Just remain relaxed on the exam day and carry your CNIC, your passport, your booking receipt of the PLAB-1 with the DMC. These things are needed on the exam day, and you will inshallah pass the PLAB-1 exam with the flying colors if you adopt that strategy I have told you already. If you have still any query, please don't hesitate to ask me in the comment section in the inbox. I will try my best to help you out. Thank you so much.